shadowed his brown eyes. The engagement ring box felt heavy in his jacket pocket. Every time he shifted, it reminded him of why he was here, waiting like a fool for someone who clearly wasn't coming. Rebecca had promised to meet him here. They were supposed to fly to Paris together, get married in a small ceremony, start their new life. Instead, her phone went straight to voicemail, and her apartment stood empty when he'd driven by yesterday. Nathan owned 3 successful tech companies. He had more money than he could spend in a lifetime. People respected him, feared him even. But right now he felt like the most pathetic man alive, clinging to hope that was clearly misplaced. "Mister, why do you look so sad?" The small voice startled him. He looked down to see a little girl, maybe 6 years old, with beautiful dark skin and curious brown eyes. She wore a faded pink dress and scuffed sneakers. Her hair was braided with colorful beads that clicked softly when she moved her head. "I'm not sad," Nathan lied, forcing a smile. "Just tired." The girl tilted her head, studying him with the brutal honesty only children possessed. "My mommy says people lie when they don't want others to worry. But lying makes the sad feeling bigger inside." Before Nathan could respond, a woman's voice called out frantically. "Zoe. Zoe, where are you?" The little girl, Zoe, waved toward the crowd. "Over here, Mommy." A young African-American woman rushed over, her face a mixture of relief and exhaustion. She was beautiful in a natural, understated way. Her long curly hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and she wore simple jeans and a blue sweater. Dark circles under her eyes matched Nathan's own. "Zoe, you can't just walk away like that," she said, kneeling down to her daughter's level. "I was scared. I was talking to the sad man, Mommy. He's been sitting here for 3 whole days. I've been watching him." The woman's eyes met Nathan's and he saw embarrassment flood her face. "I'm so sorry. She doesn't mean to be rude. We've been here a while too and she gets bored." Nathan found himself genuinely curious for the first time in days. "You've been here a while?" The woman hesitated, then nodded. 2 days now. We're waiting for someone too." But something in her voice told Nathan there was more to the story. The woman looked around nervously, and he noticed she only had a small backpack and a worn duffel bag. No luggage for a trip. No boarding passes in her hand. "I'm Nathan," he said, extending his hand. "Amara," she replied, shaking it briefly. Her hand was cold and slightly trembling. Zoe looked between them, then announced with the confidence only a 6-year-old could muster, "I think you should be friends. You both look like you need friends. Have you ever felt completely abandoned when you needed someone most? What would you do if a stranger offered to help during your darkest moment? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories like this one." Nathan couldn't stop thinking about Amara and Zoe after they walked away. Something about their situation didn't sit right with him. He'd built his fortune on reading people, on understanding what they weren't saying. And Amara definitely wasn't saying something important. 2 hours later he spotted them again. Zoe was sleeping on a bench, using her mother's lap as a pillow. Amara was staring out the window, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. She wiped them away quickly when she noticed Nathan approaching. "Mind if I sit?" he asked, gesturing to the empty space on the bench. Amara nodded, carefully shifting so she wouldn't wake Zoe. "You're still here too?" "Yeah." Nathan sat down, leaving respectful space between them. "Want to tell me what's really going on? And before you say nothing, I should mention that I've been watching people try to hide things from me for 15 years. It's kind of what I do for a living." Amara was quiet for so long that Nathan thought she wouldn't answer. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "Her father was supposed to pick her up for his weekend. He texted me to meet him here instead of his apartment. Said he had a surprise trip planned for them. And he never showed up. That was 2 days ago." More tears came, and this time she didn't bother wiping them away. "I can't reach him. His phone is disconnected. His apartment is empty. He just disappeared." Nathan felt anger building in his chest. What kind of man abandoned his own child? "Have you called the police?" "They said since there's no immediate danger and he's her legal father, they can't do much unless he stays missing for longer. They told me to go home and wait." She laughed bitterly. "Except I don't have a home to go to anymore." "What do you mean?" Amara looked down at her sleeping daughter. "I gave up my apartment 3 weeks ago. Jeff, Zoe's father, said we could move in with him. Start over as a family. I believed him. I gave notice at both my jobs, spent my savings on new clothes for Zoe, even bought him a welcome home gift." She touched the small duffel bag. "Everything we own is in these bags. The full picture was starting to form and Nathan felt sick. This woman and her child were essentially homeless, stranded at an airport, waiting for someone who clearly wasn't coming. "You can't stay here," he said. "We don't have much choice right now. I have maybe $200 left. Not enough for an apartment deposit, definitely not enough for a hotel for more than a day or two." Nathan pulled out his wallet and started counting bills. "Here's what we're going to do." "No." Amara's voice was firm. "I appreciate the thought, but I can't take your money. I don't even know you." "You're right, you don't know me. But I know what it's like to be disappointed by someone you trusted. And I know what it's like to feel alone." He held out $500. "This isn't charity. Consider it an investment." "Investment in what?" "In proving that not everyone in this world is terrible." Nathan smiled, the first genuine smile he'd felt in days. "Take the money. Get a hotel room. Get some food. Give yourself time to figure out your next move." Zoe stirred in her mother's lap, blinking sleepily. "Mommy? Is the sad man helping us?" Amara looked at her daughter, then at Nathan, then at the money in his hand. Nathan could see the battle happening in her eyes, pride warring with desperation. "Take it," Zoe whispered. "He has kind eyes, Mommy. Like Grandma used to say about the good people." Finally, Amara reached out and took the money. "Thank you. I promise I'll pay you back." "We'll figure that out later," Nathan said, standing up. "Right now, let's get you two somewhere comfortable." Nathan led them to the taxi stand outside the airport, his mind already working through the logistics. He knew every decent hotel within a 20-mile radius, knowledge gained from years of business travel and client meetings. "Where are we going?" Zoe asked, pressing her face to the taxi window as they pulled away from the terminal. "Somewhere safe," Nathan replied, giving the driver an address. The Hampton Inn wasn't the fanciest place, but it was clean, affordable, and had a pool that might make a 6-year-old happy. During the short drive, Nathan learned more about their situation. Amara had been a medical assistant before quitting her job. She'd also worked part-time at a bookstore to make ends meet. Zoe was supposed to start first grade in a few weeks, but now they had no address to register her anywhere. At the hotel, Nathan handled the check-in process while Amara and Zoe waited in the lobby. The desk clerk, a young man named Trevor, recognized Nathan immediately. "Mr. Rodriguez. Good to see you again. Business or pleasure this time?" "Neither. I need a room for my friends here." Nathan gestured toward Amara and Zoe. "Something with 2 beds, preferably overlooking the pool if you have it." "Absolutely. How many nights?" Nathan looked back at Amara, who was watching the interaction with wide eyes. "Let's start with a week and see how things go." "I can't let you do that," Amara said, approaching the desk. "That's too much." "It's done," Nathan said simply, handing her the key card. "Room 237. Second floor, elevator is right over there." Zoe tugged on Nathan's jacket. "Are you coming with us? I think your mom needs some time to rest and figure things out. But I'll check on you tomorrow if that's okay with your mom." Amara hesitated, then nodded. Zoe would like that. As they headed toward the elevator, Zoe called back, "Nathan, what room are you in?" "I'm not staying here, sweetheart. I have my own place." "But what if you get lonely? What if the sad feelings come back?" Nathan felt something crack inside his chest at the innocent concern in her voice. "I'll be fine. You take care of your mom, okay?" The elevator doors closed, but not before Nathan saw Zoe wave enthusiastically through the glass. He stood in the lobby for a moment, unsure why he felt reluctant to leave. His penthouse apartment awaited, along with the bottle of expensive scotch he'd been avoiding for 3 days. Instead, he found himself walking to the hotel restaurant. "Table for one?" the hostess asked. Nathan looked around the nearly empty restaurant, then back toward the elevators. "Actually, could you prepare a dinner order for room service? Something kid-friendly but good quality. And maybe some basic groceries, snacks, that sort of thing?" "Certainly. What room?" 237. "Put it on my account. And make sure they know it's from a friend." 20 minutes later, Nathan was sitting in his car in the hotel parking lot, watching as a room service cart was wheeled toward the elevator. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Thank you doesn't seem like enough. But thank you, Amara." Nathan typed back quickly. "Get some rest. Tomorrow we'll figure out the next steps." He started his car but didn't drive away immediately. For the first time in 3 days, he wasn't thinking about Rebecca or the wedding that would never happen. Instead, he was thinking about a little girl with beaded braids and a woman who was too proud to accept help but too desperate to refuse it. His phone buzzed again. This time the message just said, The sad man needs friends too. Zoe, mommy is letting me text. Nathan laughed out loud for the first time in weeks. Nathan woke up the next morning with more energy than he'd felt in months. Instead of his usual routine of checking emails and stock reports over coffee, he found himself thinking about Amara and Zoe. Were they comfortable? Did they sleep well? Did Zoe like the chicken nuggets he'd ordered for dinner? By 9 a.m. he was back at the Hampton Inn carrying coffee and breakfast pastries from the bakery downtown. He knocked softly on room 237, hearing Zoe's excited voice immediately. Mommy? I think it's Nathan. Amara opened the door looking much better than she had yesterday. Her hair was clean and styled and she changed into a fresh outfit. You didn't have to come back so soon. I wanted to, Nathan said honestly, holding up the bag of pastries. I brought breakfast. And coffee for you. Can we eat by the pool? Zoe asked, already pulling on her sneakers. I want to show Nathan my swimming moves. Zoe, we can't impose on Nathan all day, Amara said, but Nathan could tell she was grateful for the company. I don't have anywhere else to be, Nathan replied. Besides, when's the last time either of you just had fun without worrying about anything? They spent the morning by the pool. Zoe was fearless in the water, demonstrating elaborate jumps and underwater tea parties. Nathan found himself genuinely enjoying her endless chatter about everything from her favorite cartoons to her theory that fish probably had their own underwater cities. Amara sat in a poolside chair, more relaxed than Nathan had seen her. She loves the water. I used to take her to the community pool every weekend, but with work and everything. When did you last do something just for yourself? Nathan asked. I don't remember, Amara admitted. Everything has been about survival mode for so long. Making sure Zoe has what she needs, keeping up with bills, trying to build some kind of stable life for us. And now? Amara's expression grew serious. Now I need to figure out how to start over completely. Find work, find housing, get Zoe enrolled in school. All with no references because I left my jobs, and no address to put on applications. Nathan had been thinking about this since yesterday. What if I told you I might have a solution? I'd say you've already done too much. What if I told you it would help me too? Amara looked skeptical. How could helping me possibly help you? Nathan had been running his companies mostly remotely since the pandemic, but his personal life had suffered. He worked 16-hour days, rarely took time off, and had been so focused on business that he'd missed all the signs that his relationship with Rebecca was falling apart. I need a personal assistant. Someone to help organize my schedule, handle correspondence, coordinate with my household staff. The pay is excellent, and it comes with a small apartment above my garage. Nothing fancy but clean and safe. Nathan, you can't just invent a job for me. I'm not. I've been meaning to hire someone for months. My current assistant handles the business side, but I need someone for personal matters. Someone trustworthy, detail-oriented, good with people. Zoe splashed over to the edge of the pool. Are you giving mommy a job? I'm offering her one. But it's up to your mom to decide. Zoe looked at her mother with the serious expression children get when they think they understand adult problems. Mommy, you always said you wanted a job where you could help people feel better. Nathan looks like he needs someone to help him feel better. Out of the mouths of babes. Nathan met Amara's eyes. She's not wrong. Amara was quiet for a long time watching her daughter play. Finally she said, what would the job actually involve? Honestly? Making sure I eat regular meals, keeping track of appointments, organizing my house, maybe helping plan business dinners or family events. General life management for someone who's apparently terrible at managing his own life. And the apartment? 2 bedrooms, full kitchen, separate entrance. Zoe would have her own room and plenty of space to play. There's a good elementary school 2 blocks away. Amara looked at Zoe, who was now floating on her back and singing to herself. Why are you doing this? Because yesterday was the first day in months I didn't spend thinking about how empty my life has become. Because your daughter made me laugh. Because sometimes helping someone else is the only way to help yourself. Are you wondering if Amara will take this chance at a new beginning? Sometimes the best opportunities come from the most unexpected places. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to see how this heartwarming story unfolds. When would this job start? Amara asked. Tomorrow if you want. We can drive over and look at the apartment today. Amara stood up and called to Zoe. Come here for a minute, baby. Zoe climbed out of the pool, wrapping herself in a towel. Are we going somewhere? Maybe. Nathan has offered me a job and us a place to live. What do you think? Zoe considered this with the gravity of a Supreme Court justice. Will Nathan be there too? I live in the main house, so yes, I'd be around, Nathan said. Good. I think Nathan needs us to take care of him. And I like him. He has sad eyes but a happy smile. Then it's decided, Amara said, extending her hand to Nathan. I accept your offer with gratitude. The apartment above Nathan's garage was perfect. Amara hadn't expected much, but the space was beautifully furnished with comfortable furniture, a modern kitchen, and large windows that filled the rooms with natural light. Zoe immediately claimed the smaller bedroom, exclaiming over the built-in bookshelf and the view of Nathan's garden. The previous owners used this as a guest house, Nathan explained, showing them around. I've been using it for storage mostly, but I had it cleaned and furnished last month. Just in case. Just in case of what? Amara asked. Nathan shrugged, looking almost embarrassed. I guess I hoped someday I'd have family or friends who might need a place to stay. Seems like good timing. Over the next few days they fell into an easy routine. Amara's job duties were more varied and interesting than she'd expected. Nathan ran 3 small tech companies from his home office, but he also sat on 2 charity boards and frequently hosted business dinners. Her first week involved organizing his chaotic filing system, coordinating with his cleaning service, and planning a dinner party for 12 people. You're incredibly efficient, Nathan told her Friday afternoon as they reviewed the weekend's plans. My last assistant would have taken a month to accomplish what you did this week. I'm motivated, Amara replied simply. This job, this place, it's exactly what Zoe and I needed. What surprised Amara most was how naturally Nathan fit into their daily routine. He joined them for breakfast most mornings, usually bringing fresh fruit from his garden or pastries from the bakery. He helped Zoe practice reading and even taught her to play chess, showing endless patience with her 6-year-old attention span. Nathan, why don't you have kids of your own? Zoe asked one evening as the 3 of them worked in his garden together. Amara froze, mortified by her daughter's directness. Zoe, that's a very personal question. It's okay, Nathan said, continuing to pull weeds from around the tomato plants. I guess I was so focused on work that I forgot about other things that matter. By the time I realized what I was missing, the person I thought I'd have those things with decided she wanted something different. What did she want? Zoe asked with the relentless curiosity of childhood. Adventure, I think. Travel, excitement. A different kind of life than I could offer. That's silly, Zoe declared. You have the best life. You have a garden and a big house and you're nice to people who need help. She must not have been very smart. Nathan laughed, but Amara caught the flash of pain in his eyes. Maybe she was smart to realize we weren't right for each other before it was too late. That evening, after Zoe was in bed, Amara found Nathan sitting on his back porch with a glass of wine, looking thoughtful. Mind if I join you? She asked. Please. He gestured to the chair beside him. Glass of wine. That sounds perfect. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, listening to the crickets and watching fireflies blink in the garden. Finally, Amara said, Zoe was out of line earlier. I'm sorry. Don't be. Kids ask the questions adults are too polite to voice. Besides, she's not wrong. Rebecca probably was smart to leave before we made a bigger mistake. Do you really believe that? Nathan considered the question. I'm starting to. I spent 3 days at that airport feeling sorry for myself, thinking my life was over. But if she hadn't left, I would never have met you and Zoe. I wouldn't have realized how lonely I'd been, or how much better life is when you have people to care about. Amara felt her heart skip a beat at his words, but she kept her voice casual. We're grateful to be here. Both of us. Even though I work too much and probably hover too much when Zoe's doing homework? Especially because of that, Amara said with a smile. She's never had a male figure who cared about her education or her daily life. Jeff was absent even when he was physically present. His loss, Nathan said simply. They talked until nearly midnight, sharing stories about their childhoods, their dreams, their fears. Amara learned that Nathan had grown up poor, the son of immigrant parents who worked multiple jobs to support their family. His success had come from years of 18-hour days and calculated risks. What about you? Nathan asked. What did you want to be when you were Zoe's age? A teacher, Amara admitted. I wanted to help kids learn and grow. But life got in the way. I got pregnant young, had to work instead of finishing college. Sometimes I wonder what might have been different if I'd made other choices. It's not too late, Nathan said. If you wanted to go back to school, finish your degree, we could figure out a way to make it work. Amara felt tears prick her eyes at the casual way he included himself in her future plans. Why do you do that? Do what? Make everything seem possible. Make me feel like my dreams might actually be achievable. Nathan leaned forward in his chair, his expression serious. Because they are achievable. You're smart, you're hardworking, and you've already proven you can overcome incredible obstacles. The only thing standing between you and your dreams now is opportunity. And you're offering to be that opportunity? I'm offering to be your friend. Friends help each other reach their goals. Friends. The word should have been reassuring, but instead it left Amara feeling oddly disappointed. She was developing feelings for Nathan that went well beyond friendship, but she couldn't risk ruining the stability he'd provided for her and Zoe. Thank you, she said softly. For everything. Thank you too. For making my house feel like a home. 3 weeks into their new arrangement, Amara was surprised by how seamlessly they'd become a unit. Nathan no longer felt like her employer. He felt like family. He attended Zoe's school orientation, helped with homework, and even learned to braid hair after Zoe declared that his first attempt looked like spaghetti. But Amara could see that Nathan was still carrying pain from his past. He worked late most nights, and she sometimes heard him pacing in his office during the early morning hours. She wanted to help, but wasn't sure how to broach such a personal topic. The opportunity came unexpectedly on a rainy Thursday evening. Amara had just finished putting Zoe to bed when she heard a crash from the main house, followed by cursing. She found Nathan in his kitchen, surrounded by the remnants of what appeared to have been his dinner. Are you okay? She asked, grabbing paper towels to help clean up. Fine. Just clumsy. But Nathan's voice was tight with frustration, and she noticed his hands were shaking slightly. When's the last time you ate a real meal? Amara asked gently. I don't know. This morning? Yesterday? Nathan sat down heavily in one of the kitchen chairs. I've been thinking about Rebecca a lot lately. Not missing her, exactly, but trying to understand how I got everything so wrong. Amara finished cleaning up the spilled food, then sat across from him. Do you want to talk about it? I keep going over our relationship looking for signs I missed. But the truth is, I don't think there were any signs. I think she was just as confused as I was. What do you mean? Nathan ran his hands through his hair. We met at a business conference 2 years ago. She was smart, beautiful, successful in her own right. We had similar goals, similar backgrounds. On paper we were perfect for each other. But we were more like business partners than people in love. We coordinated schedules, attended events together, even bought a house together. But we never just existed together. We never sat on the porch talking until midnight, or laughed until our stomachs hurt, or felt completely comfortable in silence. Amara's heart ached for him. That doesn't make you a failure, Nathan. It just means you weren't right for each other. The worst part is, I don't think I even loved her. Not really. I loved the idea of her, the way she fit into my 5-year plan. But I didn't know her favorite song, or what made her laugh, or how she liked her coffee. Do you know those things about us? Amara asked quietly. Nathan looked up, meeting her eyes. Zoe's favorite song is Under the Sea, from The Little Mermaid, but only when she can sing along loudly and off-key. She laughs hardest at her own jokes, especially the ones that don't make sense. And you take your coffee with just a little cream, no sugar, and you always hold the mug with both hands like you're trying to warm your whole body. Amara felt tears gathering in her eyes. Nathan. I know more about you and Zoe after 3 weeks than I learned about Rebecca in 2 years. That has to mean something. Before Amara could respond, they heard the apartment door open and small feet running across the floor above them. Mommy? Zoe's voice called out. I had a bad dream. I should go, Amara said, standing up. Nathan caught her hand gently. Amara, I need you to know. What I feel for you, for both of you, it's not just gratitude or loneliness. It's something I've never felt before. I know, Amara whispered. I feel it too. But Nathan, I can't risk Zoe's security. If this doesn't work out. Mommy? Zoe's voice was getting more insistent. Go take care of her, Nathan said, releasing her hand. But think about what I said. Some risks are worth taking. Amara found Zoe sitting up in bed, clutching her stuffed elephant. Bad dream, baby? I dreamed that we had to leave Nathan's house and go back to the airport, Zoe said, wrapping her arms around her mother. Promise we won't have to leave. I promise we have a home here as long as we want it, Amara said, hoping it was true. Good. 'Cause I love Nathan. And I think he loves us too. Amara kissed her daughter's forehead. What makes you think that? He looks at you the way Daddy looks at Mommy in my princess movies. All sparkly and happy. And he always makes sure I have the good cereal and that you get the last piece of pie. Sometimes 6-year-olds saw things more clearly than adults. Go back to sleep, sweetheart. Everything is going to be okay. As Amara tucked Zoe back into bed, she realized Nathan was right. Some risks were worth taking. The question was whether she was brave enough to take them. The next morning brought an unusual request. Nathan knocked on their apartment door at 7 a.m., looking nervous and holding a large gift bag. "I have a favor to ask," he said when Amara opened the door. "My sister Carmen is getting married next weekend, and I'm supposed to bring a date to the wedding. I know it's presumptuous, but would you consider going with me?" "What about me?" Zoe asked, appearing at her mother's side in her pajamas. "You're invited too, of course. Carmen specifically asked me to bring you. Apparently, she's excited to meet the little girl who's been teaching me to braid hair." Zoe clapped her hands together. "A wedding? Can I wear a fancy dress?" Nathan held up the gift bag with a smile. "That's what this is for. But only if your mom says yes." Amara felt torn. Attending a family wedding felt like a big step, more intimate than their current arrangement. But Zoe was already peeking into the bag, gasping over what appeared to be a beautiful purple dress. "It's so pretty," Zoe exclaimed. "Mommy, please say yes." "Nathan, this is too much," Amara started, but he interrupted her. "Carmen's wedding is important to me. She's my only family and I want to share it with the people who matter most." "That's you and Zoe. The people who matter most." The word sent warmth spreading through Amara's chest. "Okay. Yes. We'll go." "Really?" Nathan's face lit up with genuine excitement. "Really? But I need to buy a dress. I don't have anything appropriate for a wedding." "Already handled," Nathan said, producing a second bag. "I hope you don't mind. I asked Carmen for help choosing something. She said to tell you that if you don't like it, you can exchange it for anything you want." Amara opened the bag to find a stunning emerald green dress, elegant but not overly formal. The color would be perfect with her skin tone, and it was exactly her size. "How did you know my size?" she asked. Nathan looked embarrassed. "I may have checked the tag on one of your sweaters when I was helping with laundry yesterday. I hope that's not too creepy." "It's thoughtful," Amara said, surprised by her own honesty. "Thank you." The wedding was beautiful. Carmen Rodriguez Martin was a pediatric nurse who'd met her husband while they were both volunteering at a children's hospital. The ceremony was held in a small church, followed by a reception in the church hall decorated with simple but elegant flowers. Nathan introduced Amara and Zoe as "my dear friends," but Amara noticed how his hand lingered on her back when they posed for photos, how naturally he included them in conversations with his relatives. "So you're the woman who's made my brother smile again," Carmen said when she finally got a moment to talk with Amara. "I think you're giving me too much credit," Amara replied, but Carmen shook her head. "Nathan called me every week for 2 years complaining about how empty his life felt. He hasn't called to complain once since you moved in. That's not a coincidence." Zoe, meanwhile, had become the star of the reception. She charmed Nathan's aunts and uncles with her questions about Puerto Rican traditions, learned to dance salsa from his cousin Miguel, and even convinced the DJ to play Under the Sea, so she could perform her signature dance moves. "She's something special," Carmen said, watching Zoe twirl on the dance floor. "And so are you. I hope you know what a good man my brother is." "I do," Amara said softly. "Then don't let fear keep you from being happy. Nathan spent too many years putting work before love. You could change that." Later that evening, as they drove home, Zoe fell asleep in the back seat, still wearing her purple dress and a flower crown one of Carmen's friends had made for her. "Thank you for today," Nathan said quietly. "Having you there meant everything to me. Thank you for including us. Your family is wonderful. They loved you. Especially Zoe. My cousin Rosa asked if we were planning to give her any cousins to play with anytime soon." Amara felt her cheeks warm. "What did you tell her?" "That some things are worth waiting for." They drove the rest of the way in comfortable silence, both lost in their own thoughts. When they arrived home, Nathan carried sleeping Zoe up to her room while Amara followed quietly behind. "She's exhausted," Amara whispered as Nathan gently laid Zoe on her bed. "Happy exhausted though," Nathan replied, carefully removing Zoe's shoes. "I don't think I've ever seen a kid have that much fun at a wedding." As they stood in Zoe's doorway watching her sleep, Amara felt the weight of the day's emotions. Something had shifted between them at the wedding. The way Nathan had introduced her to his family, the pride in his voice when he talked about her work, the natural way they'd moved together throughout the evening. "Nathan," she started, but he gently touched her arm. "I know what you're going to say. That we should be careful, that we shouldn't complicate things. But Amara, what if we're making things more complicated by pretending we don't feel what we feel? What if it doesn't work out? What if we ruin what we have?" What if we don't try and spend the rest of our lives wondering what could have been? Before Amara could respond, Zoe stirred in her sleep, murmuring, "Mommy? Nathan, family." They looked at each other over Zoe's bed, both thinking the same thing. They were already a family in every way that mattered. The only question was whether they were brave enough to admit it. Over the next few days, Zoe seemed to sense the change in atmosphere between the adults. She began making increasingly obvious attempts to push them together, from insisting they all watch movies snuggled on the couch to accidentally setting only 2 places at the table for dinner. "Zoe, where's your plate?" Amara asked one evening. "Oh, I already ate," Zoe said innocently. "I had peanut butter crackers in my room. You and Nathan should have a grown-up dinner together." "Sweetheart, you can't live on peanut butter crackers." "I'm fine, Mommy. You two need to talk about important things. Like how much you like each other." Nathan nearly choked on his water. "Zoe." "What?" "It's true. You both get all smiley and weird when you look at each other. Mrs. Patterson from next door says that means you're in love." "You've been discussing our personal life with the neighbors?" Amara asked, mortified. "She asked if you and Nathan were married because you act like mommy and daddy birds taking care of baby birds together." I told her not yet, but maybe soon. Nathan leaned back in his chair, fighting a smile. "Not yet." Zoe nodded seriously. "Well, you haven't asked her properly. In the princess movies, the prince always asks in a romantic way. With flowers or music or something." "Zoe, real life isn't like princess movies," Amara said gently. "Why not? Nathan is like a prince. He rescued us when we were sad and alone. He gave us a home and makes sure we have everything we need. And he looks at you like you're the most beautiful princess in the world." Amara felt tears gathering in her eyes. From a child's perspective, their story really was like a fairy tale. "And Mommy," Zoe continued, warming to her theme, "you make Nathan happy. Before we came, he was always sad and lonely. Now he laughs and plays games and makes funny faces at breakfast." "I do not make funny faces at breakfast," Nathan protested. "You do too. Yesterday you pretended your pancake was a monster eating the syrup. And last week you did that voice for the orange juice." Nathan looked at Amara sheepishly. "She brings out my silly side." "You both need each other," Zoe declared with the confidence of a 6-year-old who'd solved a complex adult problem. "So why don't you just get married and make it official?" The question hung in the air between them. Amara felt her heart racing, waiting for Nathan's response. "Marriage is a big decision, Zoe," Nathan said carefully. "It's not something people should rush into. But you've known us for weeks now. That's like forever in kid time. And you already act married. You share food and worry about each other and make plans together." "She has a point," Amara found herself saying. "We do act like a family." "Because we are a family," Nathan said softly. "The question is what we want to do about that." Zoe looked back and forth between them, clearly frustrated by adult complexity. "Fine. If you're too scared to figure it out yourselves, I'll help." "Zoe, what does that mean?" Amara asked, but her daughter was already heading toward her room. "You'll see. Sometimes grown-ups need kids to show them what's important." After Zoe went to bed, Nathan and Amara sat on his back porch again, both processing the conversation. "She's not wrong, you know," Nathan said eventually. "We do act like a family." "It scares me," Amara admitted. "Everything good in my life has been temporary. My parents died when I was young. Jeff left when things got difficult. What if you decide this isn't what you want? What if I promise you that won't happen?" "Promises are easy to make, harder to keep." Nathan was quiet for a long moment. "My parents were married for 43 years before my father died. You know what my mother told me at his funeral? She said the secret wasn't finding someone you couldn't live without, but finding someone you didn't want to live without. I don't want to live without you and Zoe, Amara. Not anymore." Amara felt her last walls beginning to crumble. "Nathan, you don't have to say anything right now. Just think about it. Think about the possibility that this could be permanent, that we could build something real together." That night, Amara lay awake thinking about Nathan's words and Zoe's simple wisdom. Maybe her daughter was right. Maybe sometimes the best things in life did happen like fairy tales, when you were brave enough to believe in happy endings. The next morning, Amara woke to the smell of pancakes and the sound of laughter coming from Nathan's kitchen. She found Zoe sitting at the counter, covered in flour and grinning widely, while Nathan flipped pancakes shaped like letters. "Look, Mommy. Nathan is making alphabet pancakes. This one is Z for Zoe. And this one," Nathan said, sliding a pancake onto a plate, "is a for Amara." "What's that one?" Amara asked, pointing to a heart-shaped pancake. That one is L for love, Zoe announced before Nathan could answer. Because Nathan loves us and we love Nathan, even if you're both too silly to say it out loud. Nathan and Amara looked at each other over Zoe's head, both smiling despite themselves. You're right, sweetheart, Nathan said quietly. I do love you both. See? Zoe said triumphantly. I told you grown-ups make things too complicated. After breakfast, while Zoe was getting dressed for school, Nathan asked Amara to join him in his office. I have something I want to discuss with you, he said, gesturing for her to sit in one of the comfortable chairs across from his desk. That sounds serious. It is, but in a good way. Nathan pulled out a folder from his desk drawer. I've been thinking about what you said about wanting to finish your education and become a teacher. Nathan, we talked about this. It's not practical right now. What if it was? Nathan interrupted gently. What if I told you I found a way to make it work? He opened the folder and showed her several printed pages. There's a state university about 30 minutes from here that offers an accelerated degree program for working adults. You could finish your bachelor's degree in 18 months, then get your teaching certification. Amara looked at the papers, her heart racing. Nathan, I can't afford college tuition. The company has an educational assistance program for employees. It would cover your full tuition plus books and supplies. You don't have an educational assistance program. I handle your employee benefits. Nathan smiled. We do as of this morning. I had my lawyers draw up the paperwork yesterday. It's a legitimate business expense and it benefits both of us. You get your education and I get an even more qualified assistant. Amara stared at him, overwhelmed. You created an entire employee benefit program just for me? I created it for any employee who wants to better themselves. You just happen to be the first one who qualifies. Nathan, this is too much. The tuition, the time I'd need to take off for classes. Your job duties would adjust around your class schedule. And Zoe could stay with me when you have evening classes or need to study. You've thought of everything. I've thought about your happiness. About giving you the chance to achieve your dreams. Amara felt tears gathering in her eyes. Why do you keep doing this? Why do you keep making my dreams possible? Nathan moved from behind his desk to kneel in front of her chair. Because your dreams matter to me. Because seeing you happy makes me happy. Because I want to spend the rest of my life helping you and Zoe achieve everything you've ever wanted. Nathan. I know we've been dancing around this for weeks, but I need to say it plainly. I love you, Amara. I love your strength, your kindness, the way you've made my house feel like a home. I love how you always think of others before yourself, and how you've taught me that success means nothing if you don't have people to share it with. I love you too, Amara whispered, the words feeling like a relief to finally say out loud. But Nathan, I'm scared. What if? No what ifs, Nathan said, taking her hands in his. Just yes or no. Will you let me love you? Will you let me be part of your family officially? Before Amara could answer, they heard Zoe's voice from the kitchen. Are you two done talking about feelings yet? I'm going to be late for school. They looked at each other and started laughing. She's going to be impossible if she thinks she orchestrated this, Amara said. She kind of did, Nathan replied. Smart kid. She gets that from her mother. So what do I tell her when she asks if we're getting married now? You tell her yes, Nathan said simply. If that's what you want to. Amara looked into his eyes and saw nothing but love, commitment, and hope for their future together. Yes, she said. Yes to all of it. The job, the education, the family, everything. Nathan stood up and pulled her into his arms, kissing her softly. I promise you won't regret this. I know I won't. I love you, Nathan Rodriguez. And I love you, Amara Johnson. From the kitchen they heard Zoe calling again. If you're kissing in there, I want to see. I planned this whole thing. They broke apart, laughing, and went to include Zoe in their happiness. 3 months later, life had settled into a wonderful new normal. Amara had started her college classes and was thriving in her education courses. Zoe had made friends at her new school and was excelling in first grade. Nathan had never been happier, both professionally and personally. They hadn't talked about marriage again since that morning in Nathan's office, but the understanding was there between them. They were a family in every way that mattered. They just hadn't made it official yet. That changed on a Saturday morning in late November. Nathan had planned a special day for the three of them, starting with breakfast at their favorite pancake house, followed by a visit to the Children's Museum, and ending with dinner at the nice Italian restaurant Zoe loved. This feels like a celebration day, Zoe announced as they finished their museum visit. Are we celebrating something special? Every day with you two is worth celebrating, Nathan replied, but Amara noticed he seemed more nervous than usual. At dinner, Zoe was in full chatter mode, telling them about her friend Emma's birthday party and her plans for Thanksgiving break. Nathan barely touched his food, checking his watch repeatedly. "Are you okay?" Amara asked quietly. "Perfect. Just perfect," Nathan replied, but his smile seemed forced. After dinner, Nathan suggested they take a walk in the small park next to the restaurant. It was a clear, cool evening, and the park was decorated with early Christmas lights. "It's so pretty," Zoe exclaimed, running ahead to look at the decorated trees. Nathan and Amara walked hand in hand, watching Zoe explore. The park was nearly empty except for an older couple sitting on a bench feeding ducks at the small pond. "Nathan, you've been acting strange all day," Amara said. "What's going on?" Before Nathan could answer, Zoe came running back to them, her eyes shining with excitement. "Guess what I just figured out," she announced. "What's that, sweetheart?" Amara asked. Zoe looked between them, then took a deep breath like she was about to make an important announcement. "Nathan, you should marry my mommy." Nathan and Amara exchanged glances, both smiling at Zoe's timing. "That's an interesting idea," Nathan said carefully. "What makes you think so?" "Because you love each other and we're already a family and it would make everything official. Plus, then I could call you Daddy Nathan, and you could adopt me and we'd all have the same last name." Amara felt her heart skip a beat. They'd never discussed adoption, but the idea filled her with joy. "Zoe, that's a very big decision." Amara started, but Nathan interrupted her. "Actually, Zoe, I think you're absolutely right." Nathan reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "In fact, I was hoping you might help me ask your mother properly." Zoe's eyes went wide. "Is that a ring? Are you going to propose? Right now? Do you believe in fairy tale endings in real life? Sometimes the most beautiful moments come from the mouths of children who see the world with perfect clarity. What do you think Amara will say? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more heartwarming stories like this one. Nathan knelt down on one knee, opening the box to reveal a beautiful but simple diamond ring. "Amara Johnson, you and Zoe came into my life when I needed you most. You taught me what it means to truly love someone, to put family first, to find joy in simple everyday moments. Will you marry me? Will you let me be Zoe's father and your husband for the rest of our lives?" Amara looked down at Nathan, then at Zoe, who was practically bouncing with excitement. "Yes," she said, laughing and crying at the same time. "Yes, of course, yes." Nathan slipped the ring onto her finger, then stood up and swept both Amara and Zoe into his arms. "We're getting married," Zoe shouted loud enough for the entire park to hear. "My mommy is marrying Nathan, and we're going to be a real family." The older couple by the pond started clapping, and soon other people in the park joined in. Zoe took a bow like she just performed in a play. "When's the wedding?" Zoe asked as they walked back to the car. "Can I be the flower girl? Can we have dancing? Can we have cake?" "Yes to all of it," Nathan said. "But first there's one more thing." He stopped walking and looked down at Zoe seriously. "Zoe, I love your mother very much and I love you too. If it's okay with you after we're married, I'd like to adopt you officially. You'd be my daughter in every legal way, and you could take my last name if you wanted to." Zoe looked thoughtful for a moment. "Would I still remember my birth daddy?" "Of course," Amara said gently. "We would never ask you to forget anyone who's part of your story. But Nathan would be your daddy from now on, the one who takes care of you and loves you every day." "Then yes," Zoe said decisively. "I want Nathan to be my real daddy. Can I start calling you daddy now, or do I have to wait for the adoption papers?" Nathan's eyes filled with tears. "You can call me whatever feels right to you, sweetheart." "Daddy Nathan," Zoe said, trying it out. "I like how that sounds." As they drove home, Zoe chattered excitedly about wedding plans from the back seat while Nathan and Amara held hands over the center console. "Are you sure about the adoption?" Amara asked quietly. "It's a big commitment." "Amara, I've been her father in every way that matters for months already. Making it legal just makes it official. Besides, someone needs to be there to embarrass her when she starts dating in about 10 years. "Daddy Nathan," Zoe called from the back seat, "will you teach me to dance at the wedding? I want to dance with you like the father and daughter do in movies." "It would be my honor, princess." That night, after Zoe had finally fallen asleep, it took 3 bedtime stories and multiple reassurances that the wedding was really happening. Nathan and Amara sat on their porch talking about their future. "I can't believe this is really happening," Amara said, looking down at her ring. 6 months ago we were stranded at an airport with nothing. Now we have everything. We had everything the moment we decided to trust each other, Nathan replied. The rest is just paperwork. I love you, Nathan Rodriguez. Soon to be my husband. I love you too, Amara. Soon to be Rodriguez. And I love that little girl in there who somehow knew exactly what we needed before we did. She's pretty smart for a 6-year-old. Wonder where she gets that. They were married 3 months later in a small ceremony at the same church where Carmen had been married. Zoe was indeed the flower girl, wearing a dress that exactly matched Amara's. Carmen was the maid of honor, and Nathan's cousin Miguel served as best man. During the ceremony, when the minister asked if anyone objected to the union, Zoe stood up in the front row and announced, "Nobody better object. I planned this whole thing." The entire congregation burst into laughter, and Nathan had to wipe tears from his eyes. At the reception, Nathan and Zoe shared their promised father-daughter dance to "You've Got a Friend in Me," while Amara watched from their table, her heart so full she thought it might burst. Later, as they cut their cake, Zoe stood between them, insisting she help with every slice. "This is the best wedding ever," she declared, getting frosting on her dress. "And now we're officially the Rodriguez family." "How does it feel to be Zoe Rodriguez?" Nathan asked, ruffling her hair. "Perfect," Zoe said with a huge grin. "Just like I always knew it would be." As they danced their first dance as husband and wife, Nathan whispered in Amara's ear, "Thank you for saying yes that day at the airport." "Thank you for waiting 3 days for us to find you," Amara replied. "I'd have waited forever if I'd known what was coming." "Well, you'll never have to wait alone again. We're a family now." "The best kind of family," Nathan agreed, spinning her around as Zoe clapped and cheered from the sidelines. "The kind that chooses each other." And as they danced under the twinkling lights, surrounded by family and friends who had witnessed their journey from strangers to soulmates, Nathan knew that sometimes the best things in life really did come to those who waited. Especially when they waited with an open heart and the wisdom of a 6-year-old to guide them home.